enjoy what we do, if you get value from our content, if you dig this platform, please consider becoming a Talking Town 5th Standard today by hitting the join button on YouTube or heading to our Ko-Fi site for as little as $4.99 a month. A staggering £1.24 approximately a week. What can you get for that these days? Amazing value. So, if you dig us, if you enjoy our content, if you love what I do, please head to the join button on YouTube or the Ko-Fi site. Become a 5th Standard today. You can cancel it any time. It's free to cancel any point you wish. And if you can't, do not worry. But if you can, I'd be eternally grateful. And of course, you get access to the perk of joining the Talking Town Discord server. A 24/7, 365 ITFC chat. Get involved. We'll speak soon. Mwah. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to your live ITFC fan reaction show following tonight's Papa John's group game, where it finished Cambridge United 1, Ipswich Town 0. Town do progress in the competition, though group winners of their group. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. As always, this is a live broadcast, and we invite you to have your say on your football club after tonight's game in your own words. You can do so by one of two methods: the live chat or by appearing on the show. There is a link already in the chat, and I'll post it again very shortly for you. Lots of talking points for a 1-0 defeat. Looking forward to breaking it down. Looking forward to seeing what you guys and girls at home feel. Already the comments are flying in. Lloyd says another game ruined by a referee. Michael has gone a bit further and said a bit of a clown referee. McSaucepan, well, they're not coming through with us, so there's that. Can ITFC appeal the sending off? Ridiculous decision. I don't believe they can, but they could, because it's a double booking. If it's a straight red, this is a bit hazy in my mind, but I think it's a straight red, you can appeal it. If it's a double booking, I don't think you can, but I'm sure somebody with a bit more knowledge on that instance, perhaps Philip Lundell, the resident Talking Town referee expert, could help us out. Mike D, good run out for the fringe players. We're looking absolutely fine apart from the 15 minutes or so around them scoring. Good point. EJ, it was a piss take. Edwards getting sent off, doesn't matter though, still go through as top. Good evening, Facebook user. I hope you are well. Don't forget, hit subscribe button if you're brand new to Talking Town. We do this after every single game. It's a home game. We do it live, generally from the stadium. Away games, we do it via this method here. So here is the group stages. As you can see, we go through as group winners ahead of Arsenal under 21. Let me just remove the overlay there for you so you can see the full groups. Arsenal 21's second. Cambridge do not progress. Northampton fourth. I'll bring in Stephen Thompson, the aficionado. Stephen, we are group winners. We progress. Good news. First of all, to kick us off. That's great news, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I always like a bit of progression in the cup. You know, we obviously, our cup record has not been fantastic of late. So, yeah, good to see. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Fairly good to see. Always good to see us progress in the cup. The first time, Steve, would you believe, we have actually progressed past the group stages in this competition, despite being in League One for what I think is now 4 years.
Wow. Yeah, that is hard to believe. So, yeah, and like you said earlier in that comment as well, as Cambridge didn't come through with us. Just gutted.
Yeah, let's kick things off with the red card decision. It's a question I'm going to ask every single person that comes on the platform tonight and invite you in the live chat to have your say on. Already some early comments about the referee. The red card, Kyle Edwards, 2 bookable offences. We won't talk about the first offence because, like the commentators, I myself missed it. I'm sure you probably did, Steve, Neil. I think we all probably missed it. But the second was a booking, we believe, for simulation in the area. Talk me through it. What are your thoughts on that one?
They booked him for diving, and what I've seen, it was not a dive. You know, it looks like he got the ball around the defender. The defender just swung in and wiped his legs out. He hits the ground pretty hard, and the ref is straight over to him, straight out with the yellow card, then a red, off you go. And it was, absolutely ridiculous decision. I mean, by the sounds of it, you know, the first yellow may well be justified, high studs, but the second one was absolutely rubbish. It really was. It was never a yellow, never a dive.
No, it didn't look like a dive in live action. Just be corrected in the chat. Apparently, we did go through once upon a time and got beat by Exeter. I don't remember that. I don't remember ever progressing past a group stage.
Every League One season blows into one for me now.
Yeah, I didn't always do the match day tickets either. So I think perhaps it's probably one of the early years of being in League One, because I don't remember ever doing a second round match day ticket. But yeah, on the red card, it's a really how's it? I don't understand how it's even like. It's a really tough place to be for me as a fan, a neutral, a town fan. Maybe not a Cambridge fan, but it's the 17th minute. It's a really tough position to be in to affect the game for that length of time on a bang bang play almost. It's in full fast action. That's a really tight call, and if he's got it right, fair play to him. But I don't think he's got it right either. I think he's got it completely wrong, don't you?
It's completely wrong. And if it was later on in the game, then there wouldn't be. I would imagine not such an outcry about it. If we were 1-0, 2-0 up, even if it was still 0-0, but later on in the game. But 16 minutes in, he's already got himself a yellow, and then straight away with that, which wasn't a dive at all, and it's so early on in the game. It changed the tone of it, and it was still so early because before that, Ipswich they were all over them, and to a certain extent they were for a period even after that card as well. They were still struggling a bit, but I don't know. The refs, if he ever sees that replay back, he's going to know what an absolute fool he's made of himself.
Yeah, I completely agree. Possibly, who knows? Nobody there seemed to think it was a dive. Gino says 10v11 always tough, but we're still through. Got to be upbeat. Nathan Pearson, a bit of a meaningless game. That still don't with the ball with 10 men for long spells. A mixed up team. Definitely doesn't feel like a loss that one. Harps is not targeting the referee, but feels that his previous 4 men's football matches he's given 22 yellows and none in the WSL amateurs. Well, I don't know about the last bit of your comment there, Harps, but 22 yellows in 4 games is an awful lot of yellow cards there, Steve. Yeah,
I think I posted on Twitter about it, and Stephen Parry replied to me, and he said that it was only his second game at this level, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
He had his first League One game on Saturday, and this was his second game, and you'd have thought they'd have learned what to do before they actually, put him in charge. Because that's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I don't care if it was his second game or if it was his 200th game. You've got to learn to use your eyes.
Well, possibly so. So, overall thoughts of the game apart from the red card, then?
Overall, great. We're through. Fantastic. Disappointed we didn't go through with a win. Obviously, it was always a bit of a meaningless game beforehand, wasn't it? Really. Disappointed to lose, and there were times when Ipswich looked good. And there were times when Cambridge looked better. And there was that time when they got their goal. I don't know, really. It was just sort of a bit of a nothing game. Usually after a win, you're buzzing. After a defeat, you're pissed off. You got the adrenaline. But this one, it's a bit like, okay, we lost, but we're still through. So I don't really know what to think, to be honest. Yeah.
And for large periods of the game, we looked overly dominant. What one player for town that stood out for you tonight, then?
I think Humphreys did quite well. He played the full 90. It was nice to see him, get a full 90. He did well. Chirowa, I think, did all right as well. From what I could see, Haladki made some pretty good saves as well when he was called into action. So, I don't know. There wasn't anyone who I thought was bad. But I think, for me, probably if I had to pick one person, I'd probably say Humphreys, to be honest.
Fair enough. Okay. Love it. Steve, your watch is done. Look after yourself, my man. All the best for the rest of the evening. See you tomorrow, 7:15 for the F1 live show. Going to bring Neil in. Neil, how did you see the game this year? First of all, their goal. You messaged me straight away and you were like, Martin, that's offside. How'd you see it?
Well, I saw Edmondson complaining to the lino, and I thought, I didn't see anything particularly first time round, and then they slow-mode the shot, and the player's basically gone to get a little touch to change its direction, and he's offside, so yeah.
Yeah, and look, I'm watching it back. He was directly in the eyesight of Hladky, who I don't place any fault at for the goal. It's quite a distance away, but still it's off the post, and he got that player just in front of him. Obviously, Edmondson was demonstrating with the linesman as well, wasn't he? We saw on the footage, so maybe he was suggesting it was. But is it a case of the game is almost hinged on that decision in the first half, that red card? How was it from your perspective?
I couldn't believe it. The first one, to be fair, you've got to say it's a little bit on Edwards. His high boot was stupid. So if he hadn't have done that, then he
Was the
wouldn't have been
booking
given
though
the red.
that
No,
early in the game?
the ref's a bit card happy, but endangering a player these days can get you more. So a yellow, fine, whatever. But he didn't need to put his boot up there for me. So then, obviously, the what looked like a foul didn't
Yep.
even look like a dive, really. And yeah,
Was it?
I
Do you
couldn't believe
think
it.
it was a dive? Do you think it was a dive? Because I'm not quite sure. I'm at that level where I want to say that was
But
particularly clear and obvious to send the bloody bloke off.
it happened so quickly. It didn't even look like Edwards could manufacture something in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, it came across and took his legs out.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, yeah, he did anything expecting it to happen, but I thought it was outside the box anyway, so it was just a free kick. It wasn't actually in the box. So it wouldn't be as if the ref had given us a penalty and changed the game, but ridiculous to believe that he dived. That's just crazy.
As Emerson says, shocking decision. But we did play without a player. Played with 10 men for 83 minutes of the game. How did you see the remaining 83? Because I did feel Cambridge struggled to break us down, Neil.
Yeah, I couldn't believe when we had so much control of the game. We ended up with higher possession. We did like playing ourselves into a little bit of trouble at the back, but we managed to mostly get away with it.
Which the commentator did pick up on, didn't he? He did mention that a couple of times himself, how, Town are just sort of inviting the pressure on themselves a little bit by trying to play the right way. And we've spoken about this in the league action. Vicky said it last Wednesday on the platform that sometimes we've just got to be able to not stick our boot through it and go long ball, but make a long pass and be okay with that. Not every pass has got to be 5 yards triangled.
Well, there was the amount of times where our young right back was available, and after a couple of mistakes had creeped into his game, it's almost like they didn't want to give him the ball. And they kept playing it into Humphreys, and Humphreys just went back to Keogh. Keogh would end up giving it over to the goalie or sliding it across. And it just seemed rather than getting out, we just recycled it back into the pressure.
Which we have been known to do for quite a while. It is the way it is. We didn't really threaten them, though, at any point. Did I think, edge of my seat stuff, going to stand up and, shout and sing in a moment and all of that jazz. But how did Kamara do when he came on? Because many people at home are on bated breath. Neil's already asked in the chat, what did we think of Kamara? What did you think of the 45 from the new man from Plymouth?
Well, on one of the moves, we looked really like we were going to try and do something. He had a poor touch, but it's to be expected. He's rusty, and that's really how his game looked, to be honest. He just looked a little bit behind the play.
Yeah.
But you think by how much time has been out, did he look that far behind? No, so he could potentially push on and become something good for us.
Trampoline touch is what I read in the chat a little bit earlier. Not sure who put it, so apologies for not getting your name. Rusty is another comment I've just read again. Apologies for not getting your name there. I should have really got the name. Trampoline foot. It was Norman Greenwald. There we go.
Just a few times in general we went safe rather than trying the killer ball or doing anything extra. It was just I would just go sideways to this man.
Can we just take a moment to have just a moment to pause and thought really for Mike D, who has got man flu, and as fellow men, we know just the level of importance that man right there is going through. So, Mike, we stand with you, brother. Man flu, Neil. We've all been there.
Terrible stuff.
It's the deadliest of the dead list. Let's be frank and honest. So, Mike, if we can do anything for you at this time, do let us know. Stephen Parry's early Kumari, he said 45 minutes and a week's training. I joke, of course. A week's training. It's like, wait, hang on, wait. We've all been there as a man. that shit's nasty. Let's be honest. Hart says, great to see Cam. Haven't played for 5 months. Couple of poor touches, but wanted the ball all of the time. Sega Zombies, shocking decisions against Edwards. Never been booked for diving. I thought the first yellow was harsh. Monkey Man Kamara, a bit like Luco last season. Good shout, really, because obviously Luco, when he debuted, Neil, everyone was saying, oh, what have we signed him for? But I actually think Kamara looked really quite good tonight. A couple of touches of just intelligent football that you could see when he's up to speed. We've got a little bit of a player here.
Yeah, that's something I was trying to say. He did look rusty, but he still had elements in which he didn't look that far. You know a player that's really, not that quite that. And when they've been out of the game for as long as he has, they would look a lot worse.
Absolutely. And one player that stood out for you before I bring in Mr. Mark Dowling. Don't forget, you are welcome to have your say in the live chat, as many are, or hit the link. Come on, have your say on your platform. I know it's loaded the Pizza Cup. We'd love to hear from you this evening. Neil, one player that stood out for you, my man?
It was between Keogh and Humphreys. Both of them really wanted the ball, played well. Yes, they were both good.
What about Keogh? Because we've heard a little bit about Humphreys from Steve. What about Keogh for you, really, sort of? And was it enough to put him in any plans for, obviously, the visit of Derby, his old side, on Friday night?
Basically, any ball that came in the box, he was headering away. His positioning was obviously great because any time they tried to slot a ball through, he just went, thank you very much, and took a touch and carried the ball out. Yeah, the amount of possession he had and how calm he was. He seemed very much in with a game plan. He knew exactly where he was going. Yeah, it's just a dominant display where he's sort of potentially getting to the point where he might tail off, but he's looking solid.
I liked his intelligence tonight.
Yeah.
He's really, tonight was really the Richard Keogh show in terms of the back line in reading it, dominating it, intercepting it, just by naturally reading the game and knowing where you've got to be. And the older you get, we know that ourselves. Your brain's got to do more of the work for your legs, because where you could make up 5 yards 10 years ago, you now can't. And I think we saw that a little bit tonight in the sense of he just knew where to be at the exact right moment. And
it's a little bit worrying that we looked better with him and Edmondson than when Wolfenden was on, but if that's my opinion.
Wolfie will point to a clean sheet, though.
He will, but it's a team game.
It is a team game. Very true. As tonight has been. Neil, your watch is done, my man. Look after yourself. We will speak again very soon. We are on again. I think it's early as next week. Got another Tuesday night game.
Yes.
Let me look into that. Just one memento while I've got you, because for those at home, if I don't tell Neil now when he's next on, he won't show. It's next week. No, it's not. Is it next week? Is it going to be next week? Yes, it is. Next Tuesday. This time next week, Port Vale in the league. Bit of league.
Do not say the words.
What words?
That you're going to see me next.
Oh, yes. No, I shan't say those words. I have said those before. Yes, no. Speak very late. Speak soon, my man. All the best. Ciao, Bella. Nathan Beers. I see why we signed him. Great shout from the gaffer, giving him 19. Touch was off, but totally expect that. Haven't been out of the game a while. Keogh was Terry like in putting in his blocks. Yes, hit the like button, please. As Andy Barrel said, we've got 153 watching on YouTube alone right now. Hit that like button. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit. And if you want to spend a bit of money tonight, become a fifth stander, hit the join button, or go to our Ko-Fi. Stephen Parry, think Kamara, like Davis, gets better and better as he gets used to the way we play. Mark Dowling, welcome back, Mark. How are you, my man? You still awake after that pulsating 1-0
all right. I've seen worse games. Obviously, the referee ruined it all, and actually, I thought it was a penalty. I didn't. immediately I went, there's a penalty. I said, here we go, 3 or 4-0 now after that.
Yeah.
It didn't materialise. But yeah, you ruined the game. You know, what's going to happen, as I was saying on Twitter, he's going to apologise. But it's way too late for that. You know, he's after ruining the game.
Luckily, it wasn't a league game, though, Mark. Luckily, it wasn't,
yeah.
the Sky Bet League One fixture. We've got to come there later on in the season. You know, it was a Papa John's
referee in a real game, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, it's a really hard job being a referee, and you've got to make split decisions on it. And I just feel that was the wrong one for me as a Town fan. Was his angle the best angle to have made that? I don't know. Many different things can be spoken about forever and more. And you're not alone. The other two have already said it. You're saying it again and saying it was not a red card for you, particularly 17 minutes into the game, Mark. It's an early point of the game to...
You learn, you know, most experienced referees will talk to the players after a few minutes and give them the benefit of first warning, second warning, etc., especially because the first foul was bloody innocuous. And even the other foul, it wasn't a foul, it wasn't a dive, it was a tackle made by the Cambridge guy, who I thought was a penalty. You know, I have to look at it again to see whether it was in the box, but I thought it was in the box at the time. Anyway, he ruined the game, and that was it. Listen, it was, you know, a game of two different...
It was. But we went through, look, as group champions. So I'm going to get your thoughts now. All right. We've gone through with Arsenal. We can't face Arsenal in the next round. So who do you fancy in the next round, Mr. Dowling? You have got Sutton United, Chelsea under-21s, Forest Green Rovers, Newport County, Plymouth Argyle, Bristol Rovers, Stevenage, Peterborough United, MK Dons, Cheltenham, AFC Wimbledon, who have yet to play against Portsmouth. That could be any one of those three teams there: Portsmouth, Crawley, or AFC Wimbledon. And last but not least, Colchester or Gillingham. So, well, unless Charlton beat Brighton, which we know is possible. But who do you fancy out of those teams? Well, it's a home tie. We've won the group, so it will be a home fixture. Who do you fancy?
I'll shout the obvious and probably say Sutton United, you know. But now in our luck, we'll probably get Plymouth.
Well, this is it. So, I mean, if you take out the home game, because the group winners have to play at home, so they tell me. So, really, you're looking at Chelsea, Newport, Bristol Rovers, Peterborough, Cheltenham, Crawley, or Gillingham. So, I mean, it's hardly fucking Inter Milan coming to town, is it?
No, it's not. But again, it's the other teams will be bringing their B teams as well, probably.
Yes.
Or maybe some of them don't have B teams. But yeah, I think why not? You know, we're at home, we'll give it a go. So we're in it to win it now. It is 10 pot. Hopefully it'll be the last time we ever play in it.
Yeah, as I said at the start of the show, I don't think there should be any side in this side of the draw now that we fear. Certainly, worried about. Even if you draw Peterborough, for example, we can make a couple of changes, but this is certainly now, well and truly, I think the southern side of it certainly in our hands. You know, it's got to be in our hands. We have the home tie in the next round. Let's get through the 32, get to the last round of 16, and sit and sort of see where we go from there, right? It's a home tie, so obviously another night in front of the lights at Portman Road. How did Kamara play for you? We've not yet seen him there. But how did he play for you today?
It's really hard to judge him because he only came on. He hasn't done it. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything right. He looks as if he knows his position, you know. When I think he's more of a midfielder than a forward because I don't think he scores a lot of goals. So, but he'd be that attacking midfielder. He seems he knows his positional sense seems all right. Just of course he's off. He hasn't kicked the ball in a long time. So yeah, you never know. You know, we give him till after Christmas and we'll see if he's going to be needed. He's going to be needed again. We need someone to fill the role when Morrissey does get his red card and whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's really tough to obviously speak about Edwards because he played 17 minutes and you can't say, well, did he do enough to push for a place on Friday? So we really can't. But when they came on, Ladapo, Burns, did anybody make a real shout to? Because obviously that striker position's up for grabs. Did Ladapo make any noise there tonight for you?
Well, I think with the striker thing, we once that went down to 10 men, we just played normal again. I mean, as a rule, we don't play with a conventional number 9 striker. So we just done the same things. The ball was put into nobody and no one scored.
Yeah, Yeah, it's tough though, isn't it? 'Cause obviously your formation changes, your style of play changes, which is probably why Wisha Keogh looks as good as he did tonight. Because most, we weren't while we were in control of a lot of the game.
Yeah.
We were.
I thought he was really good. Him and other Irish lad. He's actually Republic of Ireland under 18 international. The new guy making his debut.
Yeah.
So I thought him and Keogh were really good tonight. They were the two best players in the pitch. I also thought that Evans was brilliant in the first half. He actually showed. I thought the experience of Keogh and Evans in the first half just easily sort of shone out for me. But the lad making his debut, he looked as very solid. He looked as if he's been playing a while for us. I thought it was a really good debut.
Norman said apparently the TalkSport journalists at the game were pairing over Humphreys. Did you enjoy Humphreys' performance tonight?
I thought it was so quiet in the first half. It was only when Evans went off he came into it a bit. No, I didn't see that. No, don't get me wrong. He didn't play rubbish. But from the other games I've seen Humphreys in tonight, I thought it was his poorest one.
Really? His poorest? Wow.
Again, he wasn't bad, but he was really, really quiet in that first half. Maybe because Evans was the dominating factor, but no, he didn't do anything. He was grand, Okay.
So his poorest game for you? Just to clarify what I heard.
I've seen it from the I Follow couch.
Well, the I Follow couch is one of the best couches in town, but would you agree with this statement? With this statement, Mark? The best bit about tonight is that we came through it, touch wood, at this point without any injuries.
Yeah, why not? It was just, for me, it was always just a fixture we had to fulfill. A legal obligation that we had to put players out. It was grand. You're spot on. We lost, but it doesn't feel like a loss. The way we're through to the next one. In a weird way, it was an enjoyable game. The lads tried their best. It was all right. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
No, absolutely. It wasn't the worst thing you've ever seen, which, kind of says its own story, really, right?
Yeah.
And we're now 5 fixtures away from Wembley. We are back tomorrow at 8:30 with the Matchday preview. We'll look ahead to Friday night's tie against Derby. Joining me will be Lewis, Rapstar Robinson, and a no-filter Yorkshire v Vicky Henderson. Hopefully, you wonderful people at home will also be dropping by the Talking Town Tavern and having your say. As always, we have got Harps. It was a tough one. We have 10 minutes for 75 minutes. I personally won't be too critical on the players. Absolutely, Harps. Absolutely. It's really harsh to really pinpoint who did or didn't play particularly well, if anybody, because you don't know what the tactic even was after it went to 10 men. Was it keep it nice and tight? Was it contain? Was it just keep the ball? Yeah, it's really hard just to break it down. And obviously with 10 men for a long, long time, the moment that's why it's such a frustrating one though, Mark, because the moment that red card happens, it's almost a training game. And it's already a verge of a training game as it is. But it really, truly is training game. You've got 75 minutes, 10 men. How long can you last for? How is your shape? How is your contain? How is your press? All the different things you work on in training to go down to 10 men to practice that sort of thing.
I thought exactly that's what it was. That's what I thought. A few of the young lads, they did sort of put in a shift. They did give them, I'm not saying food for thought, but they gave them why not?
You may as well have just said, right, let's go straight to the penalty shootout, shall we?
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether there was going to be a penalty shootout if I had it finished 0-0. Is that the drill in that competition?
Yeah, I think it's 1 point for a draw, and then the winner of the penalty shootout gets 1 point. So they would have been
really interesting though, penalty shootout. Yeah, that would have been nice to watch. But no, I can live for that another day. Yeah.
How was your trip? Says David. Welcome in, David. Hope you're well, by the way.
Yeah, I had a great trip. Well, it wasn't a great trip. It was a nice meet up with a few of you, just say hello. So next time we'll catch a few beers. But yeah, unfortunately we lost. I had a good seat though upstairs. Is it area Q? Is it? That was called Q. I had a nice seat there now.
Yeah. Area Q. I think it's block Q. I think there's in the Magnus stand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. next time, just sit in the better stand, the couple stand, all right?
Oh, I've been in there before. No, fucking the seats don't fit me in there.
Don't fit you, Mark. You're smaller than I am. Mark, you're smaller than I am. Behave yourself,
I'm
fella.
going to be too tall. I'm too wide for those seats.
Nonsense. Craig says, as my wife Ruth said, hope you're well, by the way, Ruth. That ruined that game. Edwards is our best player to watch. Absolutely. Back tomorrow at 8:30 live. Here's Mr. Mark Dowling. Thank you to Stephen Neal. We've had Louis popping into the VIP area and then popping back out again. So apologies, Louis, for not getting you on. But there we go. Town are through in Papa John's group number or group stage. Is it bloody FJKL? I don't know, LMNP. God knows what group we were actually in, but we're through. Group H we were in, and we are through along with Arsenal. Home tie awaits us. But the action is Derby Friday night tomorrow. Matchday preview. Join us then. Hit the join button. Hit subscribe. Welcome to Talking Town. With love, with care. We'll see you.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde